Finding a job in Switzerland can feel impossible, especially when you're new to the country, you're competing with the locals, and you don't know how the system works. But the truth is, with the right strategies and timing, landing an interview can be so much easier. And in today's video, I'm going to share exactly what I did to find a job in Switzerland, what worked, what didn't, and what you can do to increase your success of finding a job in Switzerland in 2025. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Olivia, and I'm a Singaporean living in Switzerland for the past 7 years. If you're new here, I share everything related to Swiss travels, living abroad, and my personal journeys along the way. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, now is the perfect time to hit the subscribe button and turn the notifications bell on so you don't miss any of my future videos. To my existing subscribers, thanks for sticking around. I know I have been missing in action for quite a bit, but honestly, life has been a huge roller coaster. So I found a new job in Switzerland, and I've also moved cantons from Vaud to now in Bern. Honestly, I needed some time to get settled down, and now that things are much calmer, I feel that I'm now in a better position to share and focus on YouTube again. So on this video on how to find a job in Switzerland, it has always been my most requested video, and I do think that I'm quite suited to talk about this considering that I'm now into my 4th job in Switzerland. So during my job search this year, I managed to land 5 job interviews, of which 3 of which I reached the final stage and I accepted the final offer. And if I consider it from the time I actually took it seriously to start finding a job, it took me only 5 months to land my final position. I understand that a lot of you are watching this from abroad and looking on how to find a job in Switzerland from abroad, but do understand that my experience would be more related to those that are already residing in Switzerland and have obtained their residency permits. The whole point is to share my experience and democratize information, so do take this with a pinch of salt. So just to give a little bit of context regarding my professional career up till 2024. So as of last year, August, I left my previous company. I was working for UEFA. It's the European Football Association that runs all of the prestigious club competitions in Europe, from the Euro 2024 to the Champions League, Women's Champions League, Europa League, etc. It was a big highlight of my career, and I'm really glad for this experience. My niche has always been in the field of learning and development as well as event training. After the end of the tournament, my contract ended, so it was time for me to find a new job. But honestly, I was not in a rush. So immediately after my position ended, I took the time off to just relax and travel. And also for the first 9 months after, I plunged into full-time content creation. It was an intentional decision by me to explore how I would feel with doing content full-time. At the same time, I was also under chômage. So this is the unemployment insurance that all Swiss citizens and residents are covered. If you have worked for a period of over 12 months, you are entitled to unemployment insurance, which covers between 70 to 80% of your previous salary for a period of up to 2 years. And honestly, this was a huge social security blanket that gave me a financial assurance that even when I'm out of job during this period, I don't have to stress over my finances, and it was something that I was so grateful for, which isn't available in Singapore. So now that you have a little bit of context and background of where I'm coming from, let's dive into the first few tips. The first and personally the best tip I have is to join professional integration programs. Now the program that I was under is called PRIMA. This is a personalized support program that is aimed at managers, mid-level professionals, and qualified individuals who are seeking for jobs in the cantons of Fribourg, Neuchâtel, and Vaud. And this program lasts for 3 months and is conducted fully in person. So the approach of this program is really very solutions oriented. So during this period of 3 months, you have various individual and group sessions with your coaches and trainers. And by the end of this program, it will help you to clarify your career direction, improve your networking strategy, and also help you to build the confidence to market yourself more effectively during your job search. And the team behind are also super qualified with experience in coaching, recruitment, and placement support. So my personal take on this program, it helped me so much, particularly because of the one-to-one coaching sessions that I had with my coach. She was really able to help me prepare for all of my key interviews. So whenever I had a major interview, we would practice my pitch and my interview questions until I was fully confident and ready to fly before the actual interview. And she also gave me very targeted feedback for my resume. I could see the difference immediately after we worked together to improve the content of my resume. More on that later in the next few parts. The second upside is that it's in a classroom environment. You're surrounded surrounded by people with the same goal as you to find a job, and they're all from different industries. So we come together, we learn from one another, share our experience and mistakes and what we learned, and it's a very wholesome environment where everybody is just very positive and supportive. And finally, there are also so many various seminars, networking sessions that's already organized by the program. You have apéros, breakfast, seminars, and just many different programs that you can attend to just understand what is the job situation across Switzerland. And this would have been so much harder if you're seeking out these events by yourself. In this case, it's already pre-organized by the program, and I found that social aspect of networking really helpful. The second important tip I have for you is to adapt your resume to every single job post. One of the biggest mistakes I made at the beginning of my job search was to send the same resume template to every single company that I was applying for. In my mind, I thought that, okay, if I send out like maximum quantity, surely one of it would get a feedback, but the result was close to zero. The truth is, in Switzerland, hiring managers and companies expect to see a tailored cover letter and resume that fits the job descriptions of the company. If you're just sending in a general CV, it will get lost in the pile, and honestly, people can also tell that you're not that sincere about applying for the position. What worked for me was when I completely changed my approach when it comes to resume writing. I started to laser focus on the company and the position I was applying for. I tailored my skills and competencies to the role. I also rewrote my bullet points with action words and concrete achievements. And I also paired this with a customized cover letter explaining why I was a perfect fit for the position. And the difference was night and day. After I sent out my revised resume, I was able to get at least 8 to 10 responses versus a month ago when I was just using my general resume letter, I got it was crickets, I got nothing. So just a pro tip and something that I observed over time, if you're in a similar position as me where you have around 8 to 10 years of experience, the recommendation is to keep your resumes up to 2 pages long. 1 page is simply not enough to demonstrate your skills and competencies. Also, here are some general tips I have when it comes to writing your Swiss resume. First of all, you should always include a photo in your CV because while this is not common practice in, say, the United States and UK, it's a very common feature of CVs in Switzerland to show your profile, at least a photo of yourself. Secondly, you should include personal details such as your city and visa status in your application because this will help the company to assess whether you are a right fit in terms of your location and whether they will need to process further immigration requirements for your position. Thirdly, you should always mention the languages that you can speak. Being able to speak the official languages in Switzerland, for example, French, Italian, German, are highly valued. And also, if you can speak other languages, say Mandarin or Russian, these are also highly valued. So always mention this at the top of your resume. A final observation and tip to share is to be prepared for multiple rounds because for Swiss companies, it's common for them to administer multiple rounds to ensure that you are the right fit for the position. So in my case, I had a total of 3 rounds of interview. The first round was with the HR. Second round was with the HR and the hiring manager over Zoom. And third, I went for a case study presentation at the actual office. And finally, a last round with the higher management before I accepted the final offer. So 3 to 4 rounds, take it as the minimum when it comes to hiring rounds in Switzerland. The third tip I have is to understand the hiring seasons in Switzerland. Timing plays a huge role in your job search. So the hiring moves in cycles here. There will be months when companies are actively hiring and other times of the year where you feel like you're just sending your applications into a black hole. Based on my experience, I can say that the best months to apply, the peak seasons, would be the period from January to March. This is one of the strongest hiring windows because companies kick off the year with fresh budgets, with new projects and open headcount. So there's often a push to hire during this period. So if you're serious about your job search, this is the best time to apply. The next period that is good for application is the period between September to November, which is after the school holidays. This is when things start picking up again because managers are back from their vacations and projects are rolling and there is often a push to hire before the year end. So September to November is the other peak season. So for slower or cricket months where there's usually no replies, that would be the period from July to August because these are summer vacation months in Switzerland and many of the HR managers and decision makers are away, so you will not be able to get much of a response until they're back. You can apply, but don't be discouraged if you don't get a response that quickly. And finally, the other slow period is between mid-December and early January because there are year-end closures and as well as the Christmas and New Year holidays, and things just slow down significantly. Budgets are also frozen and hiring decisions are postponed until the new year. So what should you do during the slower months? Instead of just stop applying completely, instead use this period to readjust your CV or freshen up your LinkedIn profile, and just take it as a preparation period before the market reopens, when you can then go full speed ahead. The next tip I have is to be open to commuting across cities. This was a mindset shift that really helped me to become more flexible with location. Because in Switzerland, the job market is not concentrated in a single city. Different industries are spread out. For instance, banking and finance are huge in Zurich, where for international pharmaceutical companies, you can find them mostly in Basel, whereas in Geneva, there are a lot of NGOs and government organizations. Tech and startups are also strong in Lausanne, and for government-related opportunities, you will usually find them in Bern. So as you can see, the whole of Switzerland, there are many different industries spread out, and depending on your niche and your industry, you have to be open to the idea of commuting be outside of your city. So if you limit yourself to just applying to one city, you may cut out on your opportunities. But if you're open to commuting, even if it's just a 30-minute or a 1-hour train ride, you can dramatically expand your job opportunities. And honestly, commuting in Switzerland is not that stressful as compared to other countries because the train system is pretty much reliable and they're extremely well connected. If you have the option of working from home, say 2 times a week, and you go to the office 3 times a week, personally, it is quite doable. By the way, if you have been following me for quite a while, you remember that last year I made a similar video on how to find a job in Switzerland, where I shared other tips when it comes to salaries, building networks, and languages. So if this is something you're interested in, I will put the link up here so you can check out the other video as well. The last tip, or maybe more of an observation that I have, is that it helps to stay within your niche. Something really important about the job market in Switzerland is that employers really value specialization and consistency. If your resume looks too general, or you look like you've been hopping across different industries and with no clear thread, it can actually hurt your chances. In Switzerland, companies want to see a coherent career story, that you have built expertise in a specific area, that you're committed to growing within that field, and that you can bring deep, relevant experience to the team. It doesn't mean that you cannot change across industries, but it does mean that when you apply for your job, you have to position yourself as a specialist, not just a generalist. So for instance, in my case, my niche has always been in learning and development and event training. So even though I was working across multiple industries, I started off with an edutech startup, then I moved to an e-learning consultancy, I was in football, and now I'm in the watch industry. But throughout all of my professional career, I made sure to zoom in and highlight my key competencies, and that is the value that companies want to see on how you can value add to their context. So a pro tip I have for you, if you find that your background is too broad, go through your resume again and try to find the common skills that pull and tie your story together. Instead of trying to present yourself as a jack of all trades, it is much better to position yourself as a specialist because companies here generally prefer depth over breadth. And there you have it, my updated guide on how to find a job in 2025. I hope that you found all these tips helpful. And I also understand that a job search in Switzerland can feel like a never-ending roller coaster. There are moments where you feel so hopeful, and the next moment before you know it, you feel so hopeless and uncertain. But I want to encourage you to know that this season is just temporary and it does not define your worth. Instead of seeing this period as really stressful and just waiting for the right offer to come, I encourage you to reframe your mindset and to see it as a transition chapter to reinvest in yourself. This could mean sharpening your professional skills, taking up a new certifications, learning a new language, picking up hobbies, or just doing things that you like traveling, journaling, or exploring around where you're at the moment. Personally, those 9 months that I spent in between jobs were incredibly valuable, and I realized that I needed it. I needed this time to realign myself, to just understand what I am looking out for in my next position, and also build up my confidence for the next role that I was going for. So I wouldn't trade the time for anything, and I'm glad that I took it slowly rather than rushing into the next job that is available out there. So if you're in the same unemployed situation right now, I want you to know that you're not behind. You are preparing. The right role is out there, and all the energy that you're putting into yourself is going to shine when that opportunity comes. And that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my videos next time. Bye! I just realized I didn't share about what is my new position. So currently, I'm working for a Swiss watch company, still in the field of learning and development. So I'm a regional trainer for Asia Pacific, and I lead product training and development for 11 country markets. It's been 3 months into the job. I am really enjoying myself so far.